Hello, my name's Vicky Wilkinson and I am a drama teacher. I'm currently on supply, so I go to lots of different schools teaching lots of different settings. Bear with me 1 second, I better open this window, otherwise my cat is going to keep knocking. Right, hopefully he'll leave us to it now. So, title of mine is Persistence Pays Off. Now, why have I said that? Basically, because my school experience, I had, and I alluded to this in my introductory tweet the other week, I had some of the best teachers on the planet. I didn't have the greatest home life. Things were difficult for me growing up. Not as difficult as some. A lot of people have it a lot worse than I did. But I had teachers who saw potential in me. They could see that I enjoyed reading. I liked to speak. I liked talking to people. And so whenever there was assembly opportunities in primary school, they gave me something to read. Or as I got further up the school, there was a group of us that liked to do the same things. So we put together our own assemblies. I remember one, we'd been to Wigan Pier in year 6. I don't know whether anybody remembers that, where they used to do like reenactments of situations. So there was a school room, there was a mill, there was the loom room, and there'd be people in role taking on these parts and telling you about the history. So my teacher allowed us to do something similar for an assembly, which was incredible. And as a young person, being given that responsibility and being trusted to do that was incredible. As I go through school, incredible teachers who again saw potential and pushed me. Now, as a teacher myself, this is what I want to do. I want to get the best out of my students. And I do that by being persistent. It does pay off. As I said, I go to lots of different settings. I'm in lots of different places. I see lots of different students. So I have to make an impact as soon as I walk into the room. I have to have their attention. I have to get them to come with me and do whatever we are going to do. Now, what is persistence? Now, I got the dictionary definition because I thought it's the easiest way to illustrate it. You can see it there. It's not giving up. Now, if you go in as a new teacher, the children are resistant 9 times out of 10, particularly if it's partway through the year or you've come in on supply like I do, and they know you're not staying forever. So you have to find, well, we've all got our ways of doing it. You find your way of getting them to come with you. Okay, so it says they're continuing in spite of difficulty or opposition. Okay, now when I start a lesson, obviously you've got to start with the register. I get them to do it in a really interesting fashion. So I will ask for them to give me their favourite animal, a colour, something they did last lesson, something they enjoyed last night, something that makes them memorable to me. Because if I can build that relationship and can make those memories so that I remember who they are and I can go back and call them by name, it makes a big difference. And this was something that was showed to me in my training, and it's amazing how often our words don't actually touch the surface. Your words make up 7% of your total communication. And so everything else is more important. So when you greet a class that you've never met before, you can't stand there looking stern and sour with the not smiling until Christmas thing that everybody likes to tell you when you're training. If you show them that you are a nice, approachable human being with a sense of humour, you're more likely to get them to come with you. They'll be on board with what you are wanting them to do. So I make an effort to try and interact with as many students as I can as they come through the door. And if I see them again, I try and remember. And I mention that again. It's all integral to your communication with the class and building that rapport. I'm probably preaching to the converted here. If you're teachers and you work with young people, you know this, you know you've got to make the effort, you've got to remember their names, you've got to think about what they've done and what they can do. As a new teacher coming in, it is harder, so there's more effort, perhaps. I also make it very clear what I expect. I have very, very high expectations in any of my lessons, and I let them know about that. I run my lessons like rehearsals. So we start with housekeeping and anything that, any news, any things we need to share. If there's been an assembly that's been particularly pertinent around something on the news, then I'll ask about that. I'll include that in the introduction. Being passionate about what you do can never be underestimated. I love drama, and I'm really, really passionate about the effects it can have on young people and their career aspects. As I say, in school, my teachers and the art subjects were almost my saviour. I credit my teachers with a lot of my success as an adult, because they were persistent, they did push me, they saw what I could do and they kept going. I've put going the extra mile on here. Now, whenever I get an assignment, I'm not generally there for more than a term or two at a time. And so again, I've got to make that impact. I've got to get them to come with me. So I have been known to do a drama club just for that one term that I'm there. And I will focus on something that they're interested in, with the looking to do a performance by the end of that period. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Also, sometimes with new students, you've got to be prepared to try it their way and try and approach things from their direction. I was at a session earlier today that was talking about play and how we need more playing in our lessons. And as a drama teacher, I like to play. So games play a big part in getting to know my classes, be that name games or team games. I've even played dodgeball in drama studios just to get the team feeling within the class and get everybody on board with where we're going. It does pay off. I feel like I'm waffling here. I hope I'm not. does anybody have any questions about so far, or anything that you want to know about what I've tried in lessons?
Can you tell us a bit about, it must be really hard as a supply teacher going into to teach drama where you've got no concept of how they've used the text before. What would be your first steps if you go into a class that are exploring a text? What's your way in?
Usually through discussion, and I'll ask them what they've done, or if they've been working on something in a previous lesson, I will ask them to get up and show me that, so that I can see what their understanding is of that text, and then sort of take it from there.
Do you ever go in and you don't know the text?
Yes.
Yeah.
In which I've got to rely on their knowledge, and I ask a lot of questions. I'm not used to being the one standing and presenting, because as a teacher I ask more questions than I do giving of answers. Obviously there's always content, there's always things that I teach. I'm a teacher, that's part of the job, but I ask more questions. So I'll ask them about, if they mention a character, I'll ask them who that character has different relationships with, and where they fit in the context of the story and how that fits together. And like I say, I like for them to get up on their feet and show me anything they've been working on. If they've been reading through the text and they've staged part of it, I like them to show me that first before I try and take them further.
Have you ever used that one where you just say, pretend I don't know this text?
Yes. Yes.
My favourite.
Yes, I have. Once I get to know them a little bit, I like to build a set that fits in with what they're working on. So, throw together like a little scene with props and bits of costume, so that they can take it further. I really do enjoy what I'm doing. I think it's the best job in the world. And like I say, I run them like rehearsals, so you find out where you're at, what you're doing, and then give everybody the information, let them go off, come back, show them what we've got. But in the meantime, I'm constantly going round to find out where they're up to and what they're doing and how they're doing. Like I say, the teachers do this all the time, but when you don't know them, you go up to a group and I've known groups completely freeze when I've walked over to see what they're doing, and you kind of got to, it's difficult to explain, but when you go up and you speak to them and you try and pull out of them what they're doing and make them feel comfortable. It's like I see a lot of teachers who go into a classroom and it's almost like they walk through the classroom door and they become somebody else. And I've seen that becoming somebody else, sorry,